Okay guys, we're going to work on phase 2 today. Yesterday we worked on using very light lines and we laid out the actual checkerboard of the vortex, okay? Today we are going to be placing the lines for the circles, or the spheres, or what I should say. Remember, the overall focus of this project is actually 3 things. The illusion of space between objects, the illusion of form, which is a 3-dimensional object, and the illusion of movement, okay? So we also want to make sure that the vortex looks like it's deep and going away from the viewer. That's another way of showing the illusion of space with this project, okay? Now, when we lay out the circles that we're going to turn into spheres, the size and where we place them is going to matter, because that is going to determine whether or not you are successful in creating the illusion of space as well as the illusion of movement. We want it to make it seem like these spheres are moving either towards the viewer or away, okay? I'm going to do the same exact thing that I've done here on this demo, okay? All right, I have 9 spheres. You may have as few as 7 spheres, but no more than 9, okay? The first thing I like to do when I'm doing this project is I like to put a small one, and by the way, you're probably going to be doing this freehand, so do it very, very lightly, very lightly. I like to put one very small sphere, or I'm going to call them spheres, okay? Down deep inside the vortex. And I like to cover the center point, but I don't want to put the circle exactly in the middle. I want it to be sort of off center, so I'm already starting to create the illusion of movement. And I want to make sure I'm going to be covering the center point, okay? It might have to be a little tiny bit bigger. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard to add value to. There we go. All right. Then what I like to do, and I would prefer that you don't copy my placement exactly, okay? You can do this first step exactly if you like, but after that I'd like you to, first of all, decide how many spheres you're going to use and try to stick to that. And secondly, try to do something a little bit different, all right? The next thing I did for my project was I decided where I wanted my largest sphere to be. And I want that to be right here. And I'm acting like it's sort of breaking the frame, if you will. So I'm going to I'm acting like it's getting cut off by the frame. It's so big and it's going so fast that it's getting cut off by the frame. Okay? And you can see that I have gone over my line a few times here. It's very, very light. And that's going to be okay, since I'm going to be able to erase it. I'm going to just keep the line that I like. So I've got that line right there. And now I need to erase everything that's happening inside that line, because guess what? We are not going to be able to see the checkerboard that happens here, because it's going to be behind the sphere. We are going to be creating the illusion of space, and the sphere should look like it's closer to the viewer than that part of the vortex. Now notice that even though we've erased that, we still know that this one here, there's a part of the X. That X, and by the way, the X's indicate where we're going to use Sharpie later. We still know how we're going to color in the vortex. All right, so I've got 1, 2. I'm going to decide that I want another sphere going off the page here, because I want it to look like they're sort of bursting out and sort of, you know, spreading out as they come toward the viewer. You can have yours coming out of your vortex in sort of a little bit of a line, or all over to one side if you want to. That's up to you. I want mine to be sort of coming out everywhere. So I'm going to put the next one here, and it's not going to be quite as big. I'm doing a lot of erasing, and you might also, and that's one reason why we keep these lines very, very light. Erase anything that is happening inside what is going to be your sphere once you like your line, okay? And make sure that you can still see where you're supposed to color in the Vortex and Sharpie. Do not do that yet. That's not what we're doing yet. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Now, one of the criteria in phase 2 is that at least 2 of your spheres have to be cut off by the frame, which I've done. And you need spheres that overlap in at least 2 places. Well, none of these spheres overlap right now, so I'm going to make that happen. It has to happen in at least 2 places. So I'm going to put one here, and I'm going to draw the whole circle so I don't end up making it look weird. I can erase. Okay, there we go. So now I've covered that X here, so I'm going to move it over here so I can see it later. I'm going to move this X so I can see it later. And now I think I've got that circle so it's going to look right. So I'm erasing that because I want this sphere to be looking like it's in front of this sphere. So I'm now creating the illusion of space with my spheres as well as with my vortex. Okay. I'm going to keep on reminding you to make your lines very, very light so that you can erase when you need to. All right, so now my spheres are overlapping in 2 places. See, that's what it's going to look like later. And I'm going to have them, I'm going to make these 2 up here, so they'll be overlapping there. Let's see here. I don't want it to be too big. There. If we were at school, I would have templates for you guys to trace circles, but you know what? If you need to trace something, find it at home. And if you don't, that's okay too. And honestly, if your spheres are a little teeny bit off as far as not being perfectly round, I think it's still going to create the illusion of form and space, so don't worry. Okay. All right, that will be okay. Remember to keep on erasing the checkerboard from the insides of where your spheres are going to be. Okay, so my spheres are overlapping in 2 places. That criteria is done. I have at least 2 going off the frame. That criteria is done. And this placement and the size of my spheres successfully creates the illusion of movement. Well, you know what? Not yet. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I don't really feel like they're going to look like they're popping forward yet. I think I need more to say that. So I'm going to I've got some really close to me, one really far away, and I need to make a few seem like they're somewhere in the middle. So they're not going to be too big, all right? Remember, size and placement is what creates the illusion. Maybe a little bit bigger here. Don't do this part quickly, all right? All of these preliminary phases, the phases that set up your project, are so important to the success of the project. Okay, and I think I'm going to make these 2 overlap too, just like I did. So now I've got spheres overlapping in 3 areas, which is fine. That's fine. 2 is the criteria. Okay, my lines are getting a little too dark for my liking. Okay, so be careful. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What? Am I not counting right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, okay. Here I go. I'm going to put one more sort of sphere that's kind of not really close to us, but not super duper far away either. So that means it's not really, really big, and it's not really, really tiny. It's somewhere in the middle. And I like this size, but it is a little bit... No, I think that'll be okay. It'll be fine. Okay, this is all we're doing today because it's probably going to require you to take your time and maybe do some erasing. You know, making things a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, a little bit rounder. All right? Okay. This is the end of phase 2. Please make sure that before you decide you're done, you have created the illusion of space and the illusion of movement. Now, I know that these don't necessarily seem like they're rushing forward or rushing inward yet, but you can kind of see that they will when we put the rest of the project together. Okay, that is the finished result of this plan. Okay, good luck.